Have you ever felt like your money disappears faster than you can track it? You earn, you plan, you even try to budget, but somehow it never adds up. You're not alone. Most of us have been there. And today, we are unpacking why traditional budgeting fails. And we're gonna really see what actually works in real life. Welcome to BTB, the podcast where we go deeper than the numbers and into the real stories behind our financial lives. I'm Fidel Molenje, and today we're gonna dive deeper into something we've all tried, and most of us have failed at: budgeting. Now, if you're like me, probably you've sat down at some point, you've opened a spreadsheet or a budgeting app for that reason, or even a notebook somewhere, and told yourself, this time I'm going to get my financials right. I'm going to put everything right. So you plan all your expenses, you even set the limits, maybe even told yourself, this time round, I'm not going out, I'm not going to do this and that, because you want to stick to a particular budget. You even color code it just to make it more obvious to your eyes. And then 2 weeks later, things just go south and you forget all about it. And then you begin to wonder why your budgeting doesn't seem to work. Let me tell you, that's what we call the budget myth. You see, such budgets, they assume an ideal situation. They assume that life is so much unpredictable. But then you and me know well that life is not, it's not predictable, because traditional budgeting, it doesn't really account for those things that are unanticipated. And most of the times it restricts us, because when you write down those things, then you'll have to be so harsh, so hard on yourself. You get it? But then, what can we do about this? Because just look into this, for instance. You can tell yourself, you write down a budget, and you even tell yourself, okay, I'll buy some groceries, this week or this month, I'm not going to eat out, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. But then all of a sudden, you get a wedding invitation from your cousin or from someone you treasure and all that. You hadn't planned for that. Or there is an emergency, unforeseen, which makes you to draw from that money which you had written down. So that's the disadvantage of having these traditional ways of doing things, because you are so much restrictive. In fact, you have all those groceries, and then you come after work, you're so much tired, and you're like, no, today I can't cook, I just have to grab something at a restaurant or something like that. Or you're with a friend and you're like, hey, why don't we grab some coffee and something like that. So it's very hard. Actually, traditional budgeting, it puts you in a box. It denies you freedom. It restricts you a lot, so that you're not even flexible. You don't enjoy life. You get it? Yeah, but we're going to look into a better way of addressing this whole thing around budgeting. Is there a better way, one more awesome than this traditional way of doing things, of writing down budgets in a spreadsheet, in a particular app, and pretend that you're tracking your coins to the latter? Is there really a good way? Of course there is, and you might be familiar with it. Let us just dive into it. It's called the 50-30-20 rule. So here is it. You see, when we talk about the 50-30-20 rule, this is very, very simple, and it's so much flexible. So instead of tracking every shilling, what you do here is that you divide your income into 3 categories, or rather 3 bands, whereby you're having the greatest percentage, that is 50% of your income, if it's salary or whatever revenue streams you have, you take 50% of it and you say, this 50% you're going to do needs. This is for needs. So this is where you pay your rent. These are things you must do. You must pay to survive and function. Rent, food, transport, some utilities. If you have some insurance you're paying, it has to be catered in this 50%. So how do you know that you're doing bad? When you spend on the needs, when you go beyond 50% of your revenues, of your salary, of your income, if you exceed 50%, then that is a sign that you need to reassess your lifestyle. This is where you might need to start to reduce on some of the fixed costs, the mandatory costs you pay. You may even consider to downgrade. If maybe you're paying so much rent, you need to look for a more affordable house. Yes, you need to reduce on some of these necessities. Cut down your budget so that it is within 50%. And then the other proportion is the 30%. The 30%, this is now where you enjoy life, you do your life. So this one goes to wants. So 30% of your income, 30% of your revenues, this is going to wants. Now, if you're working, you want to enjoy, right? You want to have fun. You want to do some shopping. You want to, why do we work anyway? Why do we want to earn all this money? Of course, we also want to enjoy life. And therefore, the 30%, this is going entirely to wants. This is where you have your entertainment budget. If you want to be dining out, the Javas, the CJs, and all those. So it's coming from this 30%. Your hobbies, if you do some hobbies at whatever mall or where you do your hobbies, depending on your likes, on your lifestyle, if it is hiking, if it is going for a vacation somewhere, you're getting it from the 30% of your salaries. If it is extra shoppings, luxuries, this is where the money comes from, the 30% of your salaries. Well, again, if your wants goes beyond 30% of your income, then you are overdoing it, because you have to do everything knowing that you want to end up at a financially free place, what we call financial freedom, whereby then you don't need to work for anybody. You don't even need to wake up to do a business. But then you're looking into this place where you're having these passive revenue streams. You are relaxed with your family in a particular place, and now money is working for you as you do life. So you don't want to exceed 30% when it comes to wants. So here you have to be the key here actually is mindful indulgence. So enjoy your money, but within limits. And then 20% that is left, friends, this is savings. Now this is the most crucial part. 20% of your income, 20% of your revenues, this one is going to savings and debt management. Okay, so this is a portion of money that builds to your retirement. It builds to your portfolio that would see you arrive at financial independence. Okay, so this may include the emergency funds, the retirement savings, the investments. If it is repaying some loans, and these are loans that are specifically for investment, not just any loan, but loans that you've taken from an investment perspective, the policies and stuff like that. Like, this is speaking directly to financial freedom, nothing else. So even if you start small, consistency here is what separates financial stress from financial peace. So you see, even if your income is not regular, if it is irregular, it might be maybe a freelancer or just a side hustler, use these percentages to guide you, not as fixed amounts, but then they give you some sort of freedom. The goal here is not perfection. The goal here is to get started. The goal here is to gain consistency. 50, 30, 20% rule. This is what this is a better way of doing our budgeting, as opposed to having just a spreadsheet where you're writing some budgets left, right, center, and you end up taking some monies from, or rather you start reducing this, doing this, and at the end of the day, you even break the bank just to sort on some unforeseen thing. But with the 50, 30, 20%, you know for sure that come rain, come sunshine, 20% is going into investment, it's going into saving schemes, it's going into life policies that are gonna see you arrive at financial freedom. 30%, this is you're enjoying. So even if you get now an emergency, now you may consider now to look into the 30%, and I mean, you will remain in you will remain on track without having necessarily to break your bank or to go beyond your budgets and all that. Budgeting is very key. Let me tell you, when I all started, I spent a whole year, shared that in my in the first episode, a whole year without any saving plan. At the end of it, there isn't anything that I could, I mean, show of all the work that I had done. But when I became more intentional about financials and just having a system that works for me, having a system that that makes me to make decisions not out of stress but freely, things became more awesome and even enjoyable. I mean, this is a plan that would really help you. It's a plan that would, I mean, you would see and even predict the future, because the goal here, again, when you're planning your financials, is that you need to be in a position whereby you can forecast your progress, okay? So that it's here's a step by step, there is that consistency. And now with the compounding effect, you can be able to project where you are likely gonna be in the next 5 years. With the traditional budgeting way, you cannot forecast anything, because there are a lot of dynamics, there are a lot of things unpredictable, which would cause you to break your bank. But with this new way, the 50, 30%, 30, 20% rule, you are likely going to see where, like when somebody asks you in the next 5 years, where do you see yourself from a financial perspective, you already know where you're gonna be. You already know the kind of portfolio you'll be having after 10 years, because there is some sort of consistency. And the good thing here is that it can only become better, so that then when you have some extra monies from your 50% needs, then I mean, you can always bring it to you can pump it into the 20%, the savings and the investments, or you can balance in between the 30 and the 50% and leave the 20% untouched, and that would see you at a better place. So let's look into this. If you have any question, if you want any further guidance, just on the comment section, just comment, and I would be sure I will reach out to even share more. If you want to have a personalized plan on this, I'll be more than willing to help. So thank you so much. Let's keep engaging, and let's keep being part of the conversation. You can bring in the things you'd love me to talk about, to share more about. Until next time, bye bye. Can't wait to see you again.